Good morning everyone, today's the 7th of April, it's 10:05 a.m. I got up around 5:50 this morning. I've been up since maybe 5:50, just a little before 6, and I feel good. Or if I had to compare it from the person that had begun this fast, I would say I feel surprisingly okay. My energy's good. Every day I'm learning more about myself in a deeper way. For instance, my dreams, I've been mentioning how vivid that they have been, and or rather last night my dreams were again vivid, but they were very meaningful. I got to see and explore different sides of me, different conscious states, different subconscious states, different desires, different paths, how they affected me now, how they will affect my future, who I believe I am. But honestly, at this stage, belief is an interesting one, where you've let go so much that, or it's more though you're in contact with your destiny and things that are to play within your current role in life. Our journeys are so unique to one another. We must understand what we are. I understand being the person I am, that I have been as a kid, this neurodiverse mind in which I struggled to make sense of in this world we live in. Has only come to fit in and allowed me to embody that the more I've let go and not accepted, but the more I allow myself to flow. So I spent hours, at least an hour and a half, writing about my dreams. This time was a little different, where I wrote about my dreams, which made sense, but then I wrote also about conclusions about the dream in depth. And I meditated in bed to let go of the things that I don't need. Naturally, we still live in a world where there are some almost what we believe are necessities, which are physical. As much as our spiritual self will say it's a shame and we don't need this, we don't need that, but we must also not neglect anything, as I've said before. We must not curtail our freedom or put up walls which blur our vision in not just that angle, but in many other angles, as everything is intertwined with one another. But our minds and the way most people view spiritual sight is based on a very mechanical aspect. Again, this is due to movies we watch, Our prefrontal cortex is very sensitive. I've always said, never confuse your imagination for spiritual sight, as they are one, but when external imagination is input within your brain, there's no way in which you can separate them. So this is me years after having detoxed from movies, social media, and I was big on movies. I watched every series continuously. I used to have a serious benzo addiction when I was coming off the fast life. I do and I will make videos, and again, I'm not here as someone that wants anything. Being what I've been, it took me forever to build an ego. I'm not saying I'm selfless, I'm not saying I'm a saint. I've made more or worse sins than over 90% of the people out there. But I can honestly also say that where my place stands is a place for love and unity for all. And that's why I feel it's my duty to share my experience, my love. And if it comes down to it and someone messages me to connect with them, so yes, you keep reaching a deeper place of understanding yourself and your desires and what you feel like you want, and your intuitive self. Your intuitive self comes to flourish more and more as you fast. And now, being a mystic or coming from a lineage of ancient Anatolian mystics that root their history with being parallel to Sumerian, which again is going to boil up so much controversy online, but the truth is the truth. And again, living in a world of hierarchy, these centric ideas that pathological dictators or pathological professionals like professors have, and the academia has dogmatically burned deep into our understanding of knowledge. To understand certain things, one must take an intuitive and an unconventional leap. And I believe and I know that being who I am and having even run away from London somehow, even though it was by fate, as I was going to India before I came here, an ex of mine forced me to come here. And then I stumbled among this company which I was using to buy microdosing capsules, which are a mixture of psilocybin, lion's mane and niacin, which is the Stammet stack, which very obviously he put a patent down on this free because of the amazing effects it has on the brain. I personally haven't used anything. I use lion's mane, and it should be from the Fruiting Body, just to let you know. I use Amanita every once in a while to help with the GABA receptors. I use hydrogen capsules. Hydrogen is highly beneficial on a molecular level, and some omega oils, and that's pretty much all I use. And I have used them the last week or so to help with cognitive function, because I was struggling with like a foggy brain, and that's not every day, only on days or sometimes the day after I was feeling really drained. But I do take some MCT oil, coconut oil. I haven't done today. I may do later, depending if I'm feeling cold or not, or feeling weak, or feeling any fatigue. But other than that, I feel great. I'm honored and privileged to share this time and experience with everyone. Again, my goal, I don't have a goal. I just have a duty, I believe, to share this experience, and I send my love and appreciation to all of you. Also today, I'll be going to the property unit police station in Toronto to finally pick up my old iPhone, which has a lot of footage on there, because they've held it since March 3rd, 2023. It's been a while, so I get to pick that up, and yeah, I might record some stuff, maybe in the police station if they allow me. But yes, as I said again, I appreciate, I'm grateful to have spent this time, or to share this time and experience with people, and I wish great light and love and unity of both the heart and mind within everything. So a quick update, it's still the 7th of April, currently 6:05 p.m. I've learned to hold my energy, or to work with it, and it's good. A lot of things were overwhelming, including recording, editing every day. Now I've started to, you become more and more subtle. Some days when you meet people that are energized, which I did with Carlos, or yesterday when I was at the church, I was exhausted. I feel like I stayed there a little too long, but the company, what I was talking about, or rather what we, company and, our discussion was so captivating that I couldn't really help it. And it's small things like that that you want to be careful for. And yeah, I guess also writing about my dream, the duality of the human side and the ethereal side of us, and coming from like the life, and especially coming from like the perspective of this thing that even I can't put a finger on, is that they're on very tangent ends, and it's incredible when you can finally, or when they both get to meet, and that there may be some point where they come to an understanding within their path. And I'll explain my dream a little bit, I guess. It's about, I'm looking through the eyes of two people. One of them is a celebrity which claimed he was recently celibate, whom I've always had a great or deep connection with, and that's Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent. I've never been much of a who's the other gentleman, because I don't follow any of this stuff, but the one got done with all the Diddy. I never liked his music. I always found anything that's too sexual never appealed to me, for one. It was like I could almost feel, at that time I didn't know, but I could always feel the lower self trying to commodify itself by using its lower self. But 50 Cent had a realness to him, and I was able to pick up on that, I guess, intuitively. I'm just drinking some chamomile tea, which is my first chamomile tea I've ever drunk since the fast. I have drunk a tea at church, and I've drunk some mint tea, and chamomile is definitely my favorite. It activates the GABA receptors. GABA is a big thing, and yeah. So I'm looking at in this stream. I'm looking at from the perspective of him somehow, and I'm overseeing this high building being built, and there's concubines, and a lot of them are like, I'm in the vision of a sultan who's somehow like 50 Cent, who doesn't involve himself in humanly stuff, but he's also not perfected his higher self. So it's almost like he's stuck in between an egotistical place, which kind of resonates with like the whole Sumerian thing, because I don't know if anyone's done any research on this, but the Sumerians being the earliest civilization that we know of, and I'm not gonna disagree with anyone else, everyone has their own thing, and they can say there were earlier ones, and I would probably agree with that as well, but the one that we know of. But the earliest Sumerian kings were, unlike the pharaohs or the emperors of the Indus Valley, where the Sumerians were thousands of years before, predate them by thousands of years, they were what we know as very enlightened, because they lived amongst their people as shepherds. They were shepherd kings. And you can, if you watch any of Professor Irving Finkel's videos, the curator of British Museum, the Mesopotamian section, you will find that, you know, they had some great understanding of witchcraft, and even they had doctors, but they will all work together. But this intertwines with the dream as, being at that level of responsibility ahead of your tribe, and being so enlightened, meaning, just like Buddha was, or Jesus was, or any of the prophets were. These all kind of fall under the same concept, but people are, our understanding of things, like we look for huge monuments, and it's it's just it's a visual dopamine rush. Or we look for magnificence, and if you look at the evolution, like with Maya, like we started off with like Rome, how the Colosseum amazed us, but these were all sheer size, or these were all power. But as we're becoming more enlightened, and people have a long way to go to understand the quantum level of this spirituality, where we were in the very beginning, the Sumerians were not just unmaterial, unegotistical. They never wrote about themselves. This goes to show the connection of how we were one with nature. Hence, Amagi has been a huge thing to resonate with, and I believe that's my purpose here as well. To encourage Amagi, to encourage the return to Mother Nature, to understand and accept our fears, no matter how either stubborn we are, or how prideful we are, or how afraid we are. Either way, we're heading there. That's a part of our evolution. That's a part of the evolution of our consciousness. But in that dream, I can feel that was that Sultan, that was 50 Cent, that I was the eyes and soul of that person, was still building buildings and monuments, and it was physical instead of conscious. And he also had faults. I know this won't be my first fast. Well, I've had many fasts before this, but I know this won't be my last fast, and I know this is just the beginning of me finding answers of what's already out there. And the other side of the story is a man who's working incredibly hard. He's in love with one of the concubines of the Sultan, and the Sultan knows that, but the Sultan, he also understands that he doesn't really need to affiliate himself with that. He already has everything. His purpose is to rise closer to God. This man who's a hard worker, who's in love with one of the ladies, he's suffered and endured so much. You can see the pain in his eyes. You can see that he's just humble and puts his head down and works on top of this high building, scaffolding, jumping from building to building. You can see that the Sultan can see him, and I'm also this guy, incredibly just ready to sacrifice continuously, working beyond his limits, pushing himself beyond his limits, humble to the woman he loves, and will do anything to get him and her in a place where they can just have a family, a simple life. They both sin in this story, and the sin is this: they sin against themselves by sinning towards one another. The Sultan sees the struggle and the pain in this man's eye and somewhat envies it. And this man who's hard-working somewhat feels the power of this Sultan. And while crossing from one building to another, on the highest floor, his past burdens weigh him down, and he forgets that he's crossing from building to building, and he falls. You see, he meets his demise, but so does the Sultan, because he will never reach that top. as high as he builds the building. And that man ends up right back where he started. And so would the Sultan. So that's my dream, and it's pretty much just telling me that I'm not ready. That I will reach a place that I understand things. But this is some form of clairvoyance, and my friend sends me my boy sends me a few pages in a book, and it says clairvoyance and knowing what's to come, to view it, but not to tinker with it. And it resonated with me. Plus a bunch of other dreams. But these are the profound things that happen on a daily basis, and there are also other things that have been happening, the people I'm meeting continuously, the growth of our love and companionship with people that are greatly with God and their higher self. And chasing my property still, I have not been able to receive my property from the Toronto police. The officer in charge of my case has been has been saying he's been emailing them, and it's just been a huge shambles. My boss owes me a lot of money, and there's a few things I'm investing in right now, which have come from people that I've met at church, that we've had. All this is very spiritual as much as it is physical. But yes, I just got a call from the police station, which was the first time they actually called me back. And it's funny, the only guy that's ever called me back, he's not an office guy. He's someone that works in the warehouse, and it's the first time he's covering for a front desk. So I've had like 3 good experiences with officers here. One of them was I'm a psychedelic. I was stranded here for the longest time as a psychedelic activist. Now I'm fighting for asylum to stay in Canada because I understand my purpose here, and I grew a lot of organic relationships. I became more and more authentic. So I found myself here, and I found my place here. I found my people here, most importantly. And I will fight to stay here. But I've had a long day. I've done a lot today. I've gone out twice, and I've been in multiple Zoom calls. I'm learning another trade, which is to trade by. It's not your typical trade thing. It's to help people. We're here to help people, basically. The people I'm around and with are very enlightened, incredibly altruistic, empathetic, and it's a very different time we're living in when it comes to that stuff, because there's bad labels attached to that. But the times have changed, and I'm learning something that I've been around, and a lot of people that I know have done for the longest time, being the person I am. And it's crazy that those two things could somehow mesh in this time. These are the times we live in. That's why I believe technology is a part of us. It's a part of our nature, and the more we embrace ourselves and the deeper we find ourselves, the easier it is to work with it. And the less you are attached to that deeper, authentic self, the more naturally you're going to show resistance towards it. So today has been a very productive day. I am a little tired. I could wind down now. I'll probably do some breathing exercises, and if I'm going to spoil myself, I'll do a Shakti Mand and I'll be really relaxed. But before I do that, I may just finish editing one more video and yeah, call it a night. But if I don't make any videos, today is the 7th, it's my 29th day, it's 6:30 right now, and I do love you all very much, and I'm here for everyone.